Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you. The response I got from my first video was just so overwhelming. It really meant a lot to me. I was so nervous to upload it, but I can't thank you all. Oh, just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this video is going to be a bit different. I had a few people message me saying that they're quite interested to know about how I started with the injury and how it's got to the place we're in now. So I thought as my second video, I'm going to tell my story from when it began. I'll try and make it as short as I can, but I hope you enjoy and I'll see you all at the end of the video. So this all started a couple of years ago when I was at stage school, and as a dancer you do get injured. So I just thought it was a normal thing. I just thought maybe I've overdone it and I've pulled a muscle in my hip, so I thought I'd take it easy and see what happens. It didn't get better, and it got to the point where unfortunately I had to leave stage school to get this checked out. I was gutted. Ever since I was a little girl I wanted to be in stage school and go to the West End, but realistically I needed to come home and get it checked out. And the week after I saw my surgeon. When I first met my surgeon, he did an MRI scan on me, and the scan results showed that there was nothing in this scan that indicated that something was wrong. So he wanted to send me to a physio to get acupuncture, cupping and day-to-day exercises that hopefully will help my injury come back to normal. I stuck it out for a couple of months and I just didn't see any progress. Nothing changed, pain was still the same. So we returned back and I said, what's the next option, because this isn't helping. And I was also really confused how my MRI scan didn't show anything wrong, but I was still in pain and I was struggling and physio didn't help. So I was then getting in my head and like, what's going on? So we said, what's the next step? And he said, steroid injections. Yeah, steroid injections aren't my friend. They are painful. They are not nice, and I do not like needles. Yeah, not my friends. But we agreed because we wanted to get this injury fixed. So we agreed to having treatment for the steroids. Again, stuck at it for a couple of months. Didn't work. Didn't work again. No improvement, nothing. So we returned back. When we returned back, I updated him that the steroid treatments we was having over the couple of months wasn't improving. I didn't see any change in my pain. And I got booked in for an ultrasound, which should have been done before my steroids. Anyway, I wasn't complaining. It was another step forward to trying to find out. And we finally got what I've been waiting for however long I've been going through the treatments and stuff. Well, it's nothing really to be happy about, really, is it? But for me, it was a bit of a relief to know that there is something wrong. I had labrum tears in both my hips, and he said 2 hip arthroscopies on each hip, physio, rest, and you should be back to normal. Done. Book me in. So we went through with the surgeries. I had an 8 or 9 week wait between, I think, can't remember. Yeah, I had a long wait in between to rest between both operations. My physio was going great. She was so happy with the way I was recovering, and I got signed off. And I just thought that was the end. I was again wrong. But in that moment in time, I also got a job to go be a singer in a company abroad, and it was just the best experience. Oh, I met so many new people who are now like friends for life. I met my boyfriend. I got to perform. Oh, it was just the best experience. But unfortunately, I did struggle a lot. Just the simple things of I'd walk from my living area to the backstage, and normally it'd take about 5 minutes, but on a bad day it could take me 15 because my hip would just get stuck. And in the middle of where all the guests are, I had to like do a little wiggle to try and pop it. Otherwise I'd just be stuck there. And there was even times where I'd be on stage and my hip would just get stuck. And I love my team. My team all had to help me and pop it backstage. It was an experience. But unfortunately I did have to come home again early because the pain was the worst it's ever been. So I returned home and we went back. This time was a bit different. He was very confused how my injury was worse, but he was very confident enough to know what was happened, so he booked me straight in for surgery. No scans, nothing. And at that moment in time I thought, wow, this is great, I'm going to be over and done with and I'm going to be able to get back out there. I was wrong. Unfortunately, my operations were very close together, and I do think that has been part of why this has gone wrong, but also you'll find out in the story why. First week of physio, my physio was concerned about a clunking in the hip of my right side, and this clunking was constant. Walking, getting out of bed, it made you feel sick, and other people were like pulling faces at it, which made you also feel very insecure. We returned back to him as my physio didn't want to continue with my physio because she didn't know what this clunking was and it could have been causing damage. But when we returned back, he said there was nothing else he could do. He didn't understand why this was happening. So the only option, he said, was to go and see another surgeon. I literally felt like I've just been picked up and left in the bin. We got an appointment to see my new surgeon in Harrogate, and he was a blessing. He has been so helpful in what's happened and what is going to happen. He gave us options. He obviously was going to do an MRI scan and explain to me and my family the options that could come out of the scan, of what road we'd go down. We had my MRI scan and the result was quite shocking to me and the surgeon. Obviously, I've been through 2 arthroscopies on both hips, and my damage in the hip was just, yeah. We scanned the left side first because my right side was still recovering from my last surgery. And he told me that there was a lot wrong with it. And he wanted to try and fix the labrum. There was chunks of my labrum missing and it was ripped and torn, and he then was like, I now understand why you're in so much pain. Considering I've just had surgery on this left hip, for it now to be really in a bad way was very questionable of what's happened. I went into surgery and unfortunately the labrum was not able to be saved, so he had to remove the full labrum, which means in future that I'm going to be having a labrum graft. We understood that, we accepted it, and we moved on. Whilst my left hip was coming towards the end of its recovery and we was about to plan for my right side, COVID hit and we was in our first lockdown. And I think it was 8 months after our lockdown that I got to see my surgeon again. And because what we saw in the left side and the pain I'm in with my right, we decided to go straight into surgery. And yeah, it upsets me talking about my right side, because if you saw the photos of what happened in surgery, you would also question, after having 2 arthroscopies, why my hip is in such I can't even explain it. It was just horrendous. I mean, the main problem was there was a plastic anchor, which we don't know how it's got into the place it was in, but it could have even fallen out of the previous surgery's work, or we don't know. But this was the reason of the clunking, and while it was clunking, it was also taking away my cartilage, peeling it away, which was obviously causing me to have arthritis and bone damage, because yeah, it wasn't pretty and it was very painful. We waited 12 weeks to see if the pain would reduce, because in surgery he couldn't fully fix the hip, but he could help me in a way by creating scar tissue, which would hopefully stop the pain being as painful as it was. But unfortunately my hip was very weak, and the pain was, yeah, it was not very nice, and it still isn't very nice. So I'm still on crutches. I can't leave the house without feeling like I'm gonna fall. Obviously when I'm in the house I feel a lot safer with the objects around me. So the only way this is gonna go forward was a hip replacement, and I think from starting off with having hardly anything to then having this, it's been hard. Yeah, it is very hard, but I'm in very safe hands with my new surgeon and my physio. She's just amazing. She's also helped me mentally prepared for this hip replacement, and I know that it's a scary thing to go through, but it's the end of pain. And once this right hip has settled with the replacement and I'm fully recovered, then I'll get my labrum graft on the left side, and I should be fixed, and I should be able to get on with my life, get a job, move into my own place, like moving with my boyfriend. It's just all exciting things I can look forward to, and knowing I'm not going to be in pain, it's like a great feeling, to be honest. Yeah, so we've just got to get the scary part over and done with, and then look forward to having a life and feeling normal again. Yeah, so sorry for talking for ages, it has been a while, but that's the adventure that I've been through with my hip. Not been a fun one, but like I said in my other video, it'll be something to look back on when I've finally done it and be like, look at me now. So thank you for listening. I'm sorry for talking on for ages, but that's my hip story, and I'll see you all very soon. Goodbye.